Hello, my name is Rory Nolan, and I'm the voice of Ross O'Carroll Kelly in the audiobooks that we record at bitsixteen Studios. The most challenging thing about recording these books is that we have to keep stopping because we're laughing so much. That's the first thing. There's so much in them that's just so hilarious. And of course, when we're reading them, they kind of blindside you. So the next thing you know, you're laughing like a drain for 2 minutes and you have to stop everything and go back and do everything else. The other thing is probably doing some of the younger kids whose voices are up here. Because especially when they're sustained for longer, the voice gets tired. But other than that, there's nothing about them that isn't joyous and fun.
My name is Paul Fegan and I record and produce the Ross O'Carroll Kelly audiobooks with the absolutely brilliant Rory Nolan. Once Upon a Time in Donnybrook starts off with Leinster House being burnt to the ground. Ross's dad, Charles O'Carroll Kelly, is Taoiseach and he blames the EU. But Ross gets tipped off that somebody else might have been involved. There are lots of different threads in this book. Another one is that Ross is going to manage the Ireland women's rugby team. But it's all beautifully woven together as are all Paul Howard's books, and comes to a fantastic conclusion. So we really enjoyed recording this one.
I have a load of characters in this that would fall into the category of my favourite, but I do love doing Charles O'Carroll Kelly. I love giving him that kind of slight Scrap Saturday haughty-esque thing. I also love doing Ronan, and I love doing Honor. They're all so much fun, and I especially love it when all three of them with Ross happen to be in the same scene together.
On the first day of recording, after myself and Rory have had a chat about the book, I get Rory set up in the booth and set up the mic, and then one of the first things we do is the sound check. For this, I asked Rory to read whatever's on the screen in Ross's dad's voice. That's Charles O'Carroll Kelly. So Charles has the loudest voice probably of any of the characters, and when he's shouting, it's just ear-shattering. So I set up all my levels based on that first so that we have plenty of headroom, and that sets us up for the rest of the audiobook. Anyone familiar with the Ross books will know that there are quite a few characters in the Ross family and extended family, friends, etc. So Rory actually has to voice quite a few people. Then there will be characters that are unique to any given book or story, and Rory also has to give them a voice, of course. And then there will be characters just on the periphery who don't come in too much. They might have a couple of lines, or he might have a couple of lines in chapter 4 and then another couple of lines in chapter 8. So when Rory gets to chapter 8 and we come across that character again, he might think, what was the voice I did for this person? And it's not as easy as you think keeping track of that. So to help us, what I do is I put a marker in the audio at the point where the character first appears, and I label it with their name. And then when they reappear again later on, we can very quickly go back and reference how they sounded. And it's just much quicker and helps us get on with the book. During the recording process, there are a few things that you have to stop for when you're recording an audiobook. Sometimes it's the pronunciation of a famous character or person who's mentioned in the book. It might be the pronunciation of a brand name or a model of car or something like that. Other things we stop for are mistakes, obviously, if the Rory trips over something, or just if we're not getting the tone right of something, or if Rory reads a long line at the end, it says he chuckled. We have to go back and do that again just to make sure that it sounds right, that there is a bit of a chuckle in the speech there. But another thing in the case of these books that we have to stop for is just that they are genuinely so funny. And some lines you just have to stop because both of us are just laughing so much. So the one thing I will say though is that Rory is one of the best actors I've ever seen at composing himself. He doesn't tend to get mad fits of the giggles, so we can usually get back to it fairly quickly.
There's like a crowd of thousands, I want to say thronging Kildare Street. Some of them have been here all night. Some of them have swung by on their way to work to see the shit that's been made of their, I don't know, the word that everyone keeps using is like Parliament. I'm looking at their faces, pressed against the railings. They're all waiting for someone to make sense of what they're seeing. And that's when the old man steps forward, one arm around the shoulder of an exhausted fireman and a megaphone held to his mouth. "Ireland today is on bended knees," he goes, "in a prayer of thanks that nobody was killed or even hurt last night. The nation sends its thanks to our brave firemen, and indeed women, because I'm sure I saw one a moment ago, who battled the flames until the early hours of this morning. We lost a building last night, but I want you all to know that we did not lose what that building represents." Through the railings, some randomer shouts, "I can't hear you!" But the old man goes, "Well, I can hear you, and the rest of the world can hear you. And the people who burned down this building will hear all of us soon." There's like a loud cheer, followed by a round of applause. I suddenly spot Hennessy to my right. I tip over to him. He's got a Monte Cristo like a roll of wallpaper burning between his fingers.
"The fuck are you looking at?"
He goes. I'm there. "I know it was you."